Hello, guys. It's Elsie here from Time to Invest again. I would like to bring a different subject to my channel. I've been watching and listening. It's about it's about Britain. It's about the UK. Now, I don't know if you're all aware of that. Greece is already collapsed in Europe. Um, Everything's just been patched up, and no one wants to talk about it. But in reality, Greece has collapsed and Greece has bankrupt already. And Greece has default, cannot pay the debts that owes to the IMF, the Europe, the banks of Europe. And what's happening now? We've got a different problem coming now, which is because the Greece has collapsed, other countries are feeling they are feeling the weight, and they're feeling the incompetence of Europe in debt and and all challenging and all that kind of thing. And they also want to exit the Europe. So now we've got Britain. Britain is like one of the first countries that joined the Europe in 1975. Um, if I'm aware of, it was Britain, Germany, Switzerland, just for memory, that joined the Europe from the very beginning. But they never actually took the dollar. They actually never changed the British pound to the European Community euro. They never actually changed into euro. They always kept their pound. And the reason they always kept their pound is because they could always control their solvency. If they ever go to a lot of debt, if they ever go to trouble, they can print. They could always print their own money. They wouldn't have to do what happened to Greece. Greece uh, completely took the euro, and when they went into crisis, they couldn't print their own drachma because they've lost that solvency of printing. So they have to ask the IMF uh, for more money, bailouts and bailouts and bailouts, and it was never enough. And then you have to pay with interest. So the IMF and the Europe Bank of the IMF, which is the European institution, the European institution, pretty much control all those countries that cannot print euro because they became the lords of the land in saying that. So the countries lost their solvency. So what's happened with Britain at the moment? Britain can see this coming, and they feeling the heat at the moment. So they want to exit from the Europe. Now, does that mean if you're British, you can't go to Europe, or you don't have the same, stuff that you used to, like go to Europe and eat the food and the beautiful woman and hotel and and everything. No, you can still do all that kind of thing. It's just that they're not controlled by the Europeans. They're not controlled by the laws, right, of the European people. They're not controlled by the IMF. They'll have their own laws, and they will keep, have the parliament. The queen's still, the head of the royalty, and things go on. But the question is, they're campaigning at the moment because they want to exit the Europe. And David Cameron, the Prime Minister, uh, wants to keep everyone together and wants to stay in the Euro and da 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 da. Quite frankly, I think he's a puppet because I think he's not going to bring anything to Britain really. It's good to be in Europe, but they could keep the pound that they always been keeping the pound, but other the Lord of the House, what's his name? Boris Johnson. There's a video about it on YouTube. So he's talking about it. the importance of being part of European community. So he's talking about if they don't exit the European community, what could happen to the British people? What could happen to their solvency? In other words, if you listen to his video very carefully, he's saying if we stay in euro, we will lose our pound and we will lose our solvency. So we'll have people, the other lords on top of, on sitting on the European community and courts and judicial laws and all that, and they will be making the law for all of Europe, and we will lose our solvency. We'll have no say what they decide. They might decide, oh, every country have to be run like Greece, so they might decide. The main bother is that they'll be making decisions that Britain will have no control of it. So for those reasons, he can see ahead, and he's campaigning at the moment, and he wants Britain to exit. So they actually have a referendum by the 23rd of June this year, on which everyone is going to vote and pretty much decide if they agree with England stays in Europe or England exit the Euro. Now, in other words, why would they want to exit the Euro? Because they can see that there's nothing there for them. Basically, whatever was there, it's done and dusted, and it's finished. It's gone. So there's no future being in the Euro. There's no profits being in Europe. There's nothing good about it, really. There's really nothing good about it. And even Greece tried to do that, but by the time Greece tried to exit the Euro, it was too late, because they've been absolutely locked in. They've been locked in since 1990, and they've been locked in with their solvency, with their currency, with trades, almost everything. So there's no way they could exit the Euro. And Germany and France put a very, very big force on a decision. If they leave the Euro, what could happen? Basically, Greece has no say if they can stay or if they can leave. They have no say. They've lost their solvency. So Europe had decided, nah, you part of our LP community now. You can't leave. So we make the laws now, and you're just gonna have to agree with it and go along with it. So can they do the same with the UK? Can they do the same with Britain? Honestly, I think they can't. Britain is different. Britain has the royalty, which is the Queen, and which has a lot of influence on the decisions the Prime Minister can make. And Britain will need the European community as well, but they want to keep their solvency. And I think they can have both, really. They can exit and keep their solvency, because they were at some time a superpower. But in Europe, they still a superpower, but they've lost a lot of. They're also in a lot of debt. They're in a lot of debt, and I don't see how Britain is going to pass through without the help of Europe. But I hope that they can maybe strike a deal, or they can strike a deal in exit the Europe and still doing trades, maybe with less tariff, or I don't know, work something to do with visas, if you're not, because once they exit the Euro, you're not longer part of the European community. So people that are European, are living in England, are now married and family and da 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 da. You either have to be British, or I don't see any law that is going to enforce you have to exit or you have to leave to Britain, in that sense. So what would be is just the employment will be different. if they leave the euro, that means the jobs, the employment will be all majority for the British people or for the people that are now reside in Britain and live in Britain. And because at the moment they've got people from all over the place from Europe working in England, and their pay rates are very, very cheap. It's like something like $3.50, $5.50 an hour, pounds an hour. And it's collapsed the Britain, collapsed a little bit the Britain work lifestyle, because the British people were earning, let's say if you were a nurse and you were earning, back on 2002, you're earning £9.50, £14.50 an hour as a nurse, because you have to go and qualify to be a nurse and da 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 da. So you're earning £14.50 an hour to be a nurse. So you go up there and you buy your house, and your house is £250, £1,000, and on your wages with your husband, you're okay. Now, with the collapse of the European community, so what's happened at the moment is a lot of business are closing and investments are losing money. So people are coming from overseas, from Malta, from Czechoslovakia, from Spain, from all over the place. And they're coming over, and some of them have qualification. They have nurse qualification, doctor qualification, and physicist, and on and on. So basically, they filling up positions that the British people are no longer there, because if I was to pay the British people £14 an hour, and I have somebody coming from overseas who can also work in Britain, and doing the same, training, and they have the same qualifications, right? So I can easily say, hang on, I'll pay you £9.50 or £7.50 an hour, still being doing a nurse and you qualified to do it, instead of pay, a British person who's been there for years and years, £14.50 an hour. So I can cut the wages by half, and not just the wages, but the live in lieu, and the work cover and things like that can be cut in half. So what happened is the British people are now in depression. They are basically in depression because they had to let go of their houses. They can't keep doing their job because they earn less than they used to. And if they do their jobs, they're on the low income, they're on medium low income, they might have to have two jobs. So things are not really, really, really sweet for England, really. Yeah, you can find a job anywhere, and you can do anything, but you'll be earning a lot less than what you used to in 2002. So things have gone from 2002 to 2016 have gone absolutely vertical, down, really, really down, vertical. Um, so let's wait and see what can happen. This can open all kind of worms, really, because if Britain exit the euro and they do it successfully, then other countries are going to be very upset, and they're going to rage confrontation. How come Britain got out of the euro and we can't? What is Britain so special about it that we are not? I know that Britain is not absolutely united with the euro, so they still have the pound, which they still control it, but that's still the same. The laws, regulations, students, universities, trading, loans, everything is pretty much the same. It's just that they keep their pound. They decide to keep their pound, so they never wanted to let go of their pound, which is a good idea. I mean, if you can control your own money, why would you want give that away for somebody to control it for you, and then you have to borrow their money, and then you have to pay them on interest when you could be printing your own money and have to pay no one interest. I mean, anyone would want to keep their currency. And the pound was strong back then. Everything was sweet. So there was no need to join. Uh, the euro really. It's just the laws and the decisions and the banking, the interest and things like that, trading. Yeah, we'll join in that, but we don't join in actually currency. Thanks for that, but we don't do that. So yeah, let's all wait and see what could happen by the 23rd of June. Um, it's a lot of noise just start coming up at the moment. I'm just thinking about if that happened, could that bring the Europe down really fast? Could that, make big headlines and say, well, because England had exit the Arab community, now the economy, could that be the unravel for the collapse that we're expecting for this year? It could be, because in one side you have Britain now threatened to exit, the other side you have Janet Yellen still and continue to want to keep the interest rates up and maybe do one more. So that could be the reason. That could be planned reason. They could say, hey, we didn't know that Britain was going to leave, and if Britain would have left, this wouldn't have happened, and now we're all in chaos because Britain left. And, if they would have stayed, we would have achieved our goals. Who knows? We don't know. But one thing I do know is the things are sort of unravel very, very fast. And it's not looking good for Europe. It's not looking good for America. It's just not looking good for Europe at all. So let's wait and see what's happened. So we've got until October. There's a date. There's a timeline, which is October, October the 3rd, October the 2nd, and October the 3rd. From the inside info that I have is that it could be a reaction from a collapse. So collapse could happen sometime, now to July, now till October, and the reaction will be sometime in October, the 3rd. So I just wanted to let you all know what's happening, and if you have any comments, please write down your comments what you think. Should Britain stay? Should Britain go? I quite frankly think Britain should go, and I don't think they should be ruled by the Europeans, like Greece did. Um, I think they did well. I think they jump in with one leg in, with one leg out. If things don't go well, you out, and no hard feelings. Greece, big mistake. Portugal, big mistake. Spain, big mistake. France, and so on and on. And so, yeah, in my opinion, the European community is coming down. It started already with Greece last year, when they talked about all the bailouts and all that stuff, and it didn't happen. Greece didn't get the bailout and if they didn't get the bailout, that means they would default. But obviously, it's not out there on the open. It's not on the news, and people talking about, oh, Greece has default, because that just creates a lot of, come on, a lot of volatility on the market, and this just creates a lot of blood. You know what I mean? And we don't want to hear that. But in reality, Greece has already collapsed. Greece has already bankrupt. Now we're headed into other countries in Europe, like Italy, like Spain, and Portugal, and France. English, yes, too. They're not doing very well either. They've got a lot of debt, but they can see what's coming. They can smell what's coming, and they want to be out of it before it happens. Uh, they can control what they have in their country, and they want to control their solvency, control their trades, have their own decisions, and on and on. They don't need the Europeans to make the decisions for them. So that's the reason why they want to exit. And quite frankly, they like the European people, and they're very friendly country. I've lived in England for a couple of years, and they're very friendly people. They get on with everyone. A lot of European lived in there. And there's nothing against the European people. There's nothing against, supporting the European people because they've been doing it for decades. Why would they want to get out now? So they want to get out now because they can see that it's going to be a lot of volatility, a lot of people losing their jobs, and the government is already bankrupt, and they can now support people from overseas and from other places that never worked in England, never pay never pay taxes, and they don't want to be supporting your super for God knows when. They're quite happy to support. They already have their own people to support, so they don't want to support you if you haven't contributed. Why should they? I mean, it's quite frankly, I'm okay with that. I mean, they shouldn't do it either. And so, this is my idea. So let's wait and see what happened on 23rd of June. Would Britain exit? Would Britain stay? I think they'll exit, and I think there could be a reaction for the collapse. There could be volatility there because 2 days ago, 3 days ago, there has been a lot of volatility on the pound dollar, on the British pound, um, because of just the controversy. If they leave, what could happen to the pound? What could happen because the trading would be absolutely different. And well, I'm gonna go, and I'll leave my comments. Leave your comments on the bottom of my video, and you can follow me on Twitter on Time to Invest. And ciao and take care, guys. See ya.